Hey, I'm Shelly Netzer Edgerton, and this is Green Rose Edge. Welcome to my video. I put up a few that I think I need to take down because I went to look at them again, and the sound didn't go through. I was doing them on my computer, and I don't have some reason. I guess I need to put a microphone for it because it doesn't pick up sound. But this is on my phone and it seems to be working. I made my own wand with a focus crystal and some feathers. Looks like an Indian thing, but this is more like a real wand as opposed to a Harry Potter wand, where this is handmade. Real wands are handmade for real witches and magic folk. I probably didn't need the feathers and stuff, but I used, for my focus crystal, I used amethyst because I love the purple crystals and stuff, but it's more to focus and all. But I made this myself, and the length is more realistic. This one's still a little bit long, but it's nice. So, my wand, I have a few other wands. Can't find my one. I have a snake wand, although, and then one I made my daughter, and my daughter has a somewhat real wand, but it was one I bought at the Renaissance Festival. This is an anthem. I'm using it for an anthem, but it's a claw sword that I found at a convention I went to. They have like a lot of daggers and swords and knives and stuff, and I thought this was fun. It's actually kind of sharp. Nice. It'd make a nice box opener, box cutter. And this ring came with it. And then my snake ring that I got actually just at the regular store. Just some fun things. I'm not really a fan of Harry Potter, although I did like the first Fantastic Beasts movie. I think this is actually getting better, so I'm pretty proud of it. But I just saw that the new Fantastic Beasts trailer came out, and I've been busy for most of the day, so I just went on YouTube for the first time. I've seen every Harry Potter video out there, and I've seen, like I said, I've seen every Harry Potter movie out. I've read the last couple books. When I read the final book of Harry Potter, it kind of was like when they went to the story of the first time I read it, they started the story of the three brothers in it. It kind of upset me because I'm like, I still want to know who wrote it for real, because she didn't write it, unless she wrote it back in 90, because I remember that being told to me when I was 5 years old at school. There was when I was really young, we had the librarian read a story that was the exact same word for word with the story of the three brothers. So when I got to that page, I read the first line, I'm like, I know this story. I'm like, I read a few more. I'm like, yeah. And I'm reading, I'm like, the first brother dies. I know this. And it's like, that's exactly as I remember. And then I read to the end, I'm like, and it says when the third son was old and said, I'm like, he took off his cloak, gave it to his son, and greeted death as a friend. Flip the page, it's exactly word for word. It wasn't just like I glanced and it like when I didn't even see that page. And so and a lot of the other things, I know the stories of the myths and legends of Greek mythology and stuff, and I've known for a long time, and it seems like she's just compositing and throwing stuff into and then just writing around it. Not an original storyline, and so I didn't like the Harry Potter videos, especially since I grew up knowing all this stuff, and I loved so much The Worst Witch. A Witch's Education. First story. I loved The Worst Witch. I felt it was a better done storyline, and it showed more. When I was growing up, everything was to learn a lesson. So I was kind of not as happy. The Fantastic Beasts puts a nice spin on it, and it seems to be more research than just like, oh, I happen to know about that, so know something about that. I think I heard it in passing, so I'll write that down. Oh, I heard that in passing. I don't even know anything about this. I'm writing it in. Just write a list of things that I know nothing about, and then fill in the blanks with my own story. I find that kind of cheap, and so I really hated the Harry Potter franchise. And then I hated even more when they killed Snape, and with how much they did to him, how they made his backstory, I find it very disappointing when a character like him, who's really good, and and who's had that hard of a life and hasn't really done anything majorly evil. They never put anything that makes me think him anything less than a decent person. I mean, a bit, but I've seen people who do worse things and are a lot more annoying and a lot more, gruff. They're really good people. And Snape reminds me of some really good people who you have to get to know them to understand what is their issue and how they need a friend, which no one's willing to do for Snape. Lily was his friend, and she gave up on him for one little word. They said, look at what was happening to him at the time. I remember when I was a kid, I was picked on a daily basis, was pelted with pennies, had my head hit with a book, hit over the head with the book. Nothing happened to the kids in my school for doing that. So I go through and I go through the day, and they never do anything for assaults, and I'm spit on. They don't do anything. I'm hit. I'm pelted with stuff. I'm pushed. They push my stuff out of my hand. They're doing all this stuff to me, and no one ever got in trouble for it until I fought back. The administrators did not a thing. One time, I had my stuff pushed out of my hands. I was in the hall and everyone was kicking my stuff all around, and I was being abused. And I just shut down and I growled at anyone who came near me. People, and look, when she tried to help, what happens? They slam him to the ground. He gets abused even worse. So, she's a friend of his, but in that moment, and that's the only time he ever said that word, mudblood, which real magics, by the way, would not differentiate all that much between born witches and non in a actual situation. Because I personally am a true witch or a blood witch. I was born with a blood tie to magic. I'm Christian, by the way. You can be. That is a practice. Wicca and magic and all that is a practice. Your religion has nothing to do with it. I believe in Jesus Christ. I am Christian. I'm not worshiping pagan gods, although I do believe that the pagan gods were early peoples not understanding the power of God, the strength of God. And I believe that the God of Israel, the God of Abraham, is genderless. So I believe the mother goddess and the them calling him father and stuff, it's not, I don't believe that there's actually a difference. I believe that's the same God, the one God that created our everything. I believe that these are just ways, that our religions are just ways for people to understand God in their own way. So, I'm okay no matter what religion you are. And witches, true witches, accept everyone. And will and are more understanding of all peoples. This said, so I kind of like the whole magic genre, but I found Harry Potter to be lacking in respect for everything. So I really found it kind of offensive to my ideals and my beliefs. There's one thing that is a main, most important thing in a witch. There's one rule. Power of 3 times 3. Anything you do out comes back ninefold. So if you do good, you will get good. If you do bad, if you wish bad on other people, this is my core thing that makes me, is that whatever you do is going to come back to you and it's going to hurt you. So don't do bad things to other people. like the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do to you. Even if they do bad, doing bad to them will just cause pain for yourself. Thank God for the torment. Thank God for the pain. Thank God for everything that has happened to me in my life, because it made me who I am. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I'm stronger for the pain that these people have caused me. Sometimes it gets to the point where, like I said, I'm a scared dog. I'm growling, I'm crying, I'm shutting the world off. And guess what? It takes time, but eventually I remember. That's the great thing about witches and the magic, is it's there to remind you of who you are. Okay, so that's my basic belief system. I have little I believe that I have the power to do good for others, and that's my whole life. I was just seeing that the Fantastic Beasts trailer came out, and I'm watching it. I think it's quite interesting as it goes, and someone said how the people are apparating onto Hogwarts. I believe, wasn't that Dumbledore who started that? And where they apparated was at the entrance. It still wasn't into Hogwarts itself. So, I will say on that,
This is a surprise. There's a rumor that Newt Scamander is headed to Paris.
some of the other people's reactions are
To see for yourself. No.
If you'd ever had the pleasure to teach him, you'd know Newt is not a great follower.
and so it means if he says Newt is not a great follower of orders if you've ever told him. I know I got that wrong. But Newt Scamander not following orders sounds like he's very independent. And from that description. I don't like the term nomad. It's non-magic. Real wizards and witches are not those who are so lazy. I have been saying that for non-magics since I can remember, so since I was probably in my early teens, it was always witches and then non-magics, so just people without magic. So I find that when she did that, it's lazy and it doesn't really work. So
Bar of orders.
then it goes to Warner Brothers title
The time's coming
and
when you're gonna have to pick a side.
then she is wearing her trench coat and they're all wearing.
Going somewhere? No, we're going somewhere.
I like that they brought him back. I'm not sure if I watched any of them through, but I saw the Bakey and the Carlin brothers have them up, and I watched a little bit of the beginning, and they were saying things like how the they were confused about this stuff, but nothing here's all that confusing. It's interesting. And I like that they brought back the guy, which it kind of showed, because Queenie came into his shop and he showed some recognition, considering how much he liked her to begin with when he first met her. So he's and then when he makes all this stuff, it's to do with the Fantastic Beasts and the stuff he learned. So it's inspirational from his time spending with Newt Scamander. I only watched it once. My daughter had gotten it from the library or something, and so I watched it because she wanted to watch it as a family. Especially since she asked me a lot of Harry Potter questions, which is funny considering she knows my not being very, my mother was into Harry Potter. My husband loves it. My daughter's father. So, our daughter's Harry Potter, everybody likes it. But me. But my vision on it, I make known. Then something coming out of the one girl. Kind of looks like a Dementor. And of course the ball trap goes back. And they have
I can't move against Grindelwald.
against the darkness.
It has to be you.
Then and the Deathly Hallows symbol kind of shows up. So maybe it'll show up in the story. At the end, they kind of have the Deathly Hallows sign. But the story of the Deathly Hallows, the three brothers, was something. I remember the story maybe slightly different in the description of wizards and stuff, but I remember that from early 90s, so that was already written at that point. So I'm Shelly Netzer Edgerton. This is Green Rose Edge. I will put a link to I'm not sure. I'm going to try and put links down below for my personal. I'll put my email. I'll put my and you can email me, and I will put my website up in the description. And thank you for watching.